Hey there, you're looking kind of cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out all my other socials. Enjoy. Early in the morning, the city was quiet and covered in mist. In a tall, modern building, the CEO of Meridian Technologies looked at what he had built. Years before, Chris started with only a simple idea. Now, after 15 years of hard work, he led a large company. Chris sat at his desk and read the company's performance reports. The new numbers showed that the company would have another good quarter. His success was clear. Chris saw his reflection in the shiny desk. He looked calm and confident in his expensive suit. He looked like the perfect business leader. But under his nice clothes, Chris felt nervous. He had a secret that could ruin everything if people found out. The meeting was like many before it. People talked about plans and shook hands. Chris did his job well, but his thoughts kept going back to the locked drawer at home and to the things he kept hidden there. That evening, Eleanor chatted about her book club over dinner, her voice floating past him like background music. She wore a cream blouse and pearl earrings, the picture of suburban elegance in their colonial home. "You seem distracted lately." "Just work stress. Big merger coming up." She reached across the table and squeezed his hand. "You work too hard. Maybe you should take up jogging again. You always said it helped clear your head." The suggestion hit him like electricity. "That's actually a good idea. I'll be at my sister's tomorrow evening for her birthday dinner. You could go then?" Perfect. The next evening arrived with agonizing slowness. Chris watched Eleanor's silver sedan disappear down the driveway before heading to his home office. His hands trembled as he unlocked the bottom drawer, revealing the carefully folded items within: black running tights, purple athletic shorts, a pink sports bra, white ankle socks, gray running shoes a size smaller than his regular ones. Each piece had been purchased separately, always with cash, always from different stores. The ritual of dressing held its own intoxication. First the tights, the material sliding up his freshly shaved legs, then the sports bra, requiring careful adjustment, the shorts over the tights, the delicate socks, finally the shoes that forced his gait into something more feminine. The bathroom mirror reflected a different person. Chris pulled his brown hair back into a small ponytail, grateful he'd been growing it out for a more relaxed executive look. A touch of clear lip gloss, nothing obvious, just enough to feel different. His hands shook as he applied a hint of mascara to his lashes. The garage door rumbled open. Suburban evening stretched before him, dangerous and inviting. His first steps onto the driveway sent adrenaline coursing through his veins. Any neighbor could glance out their window. Any passing car could slow down for a better look. But that was the point. Chris began jogging, settling into a rhythm that made the shorts swish against the tights. The sports bra shifted with each step, a constant reminder of his transformation. He chose a route through the park, less chance of recognition, but still public enough to feed the thrill. A couple passed walking their golden retriever. The woman's eyes lingered a moment too long, and Chris felt his cheeks burn. Did she know? Could she tell? The uncertainty twisted in his stomach, equal parts terror and euphoria. "Evening," the man nodded. Chris managed a breathy hi in response, pitching his voice higher. They continued past, and he heard no laughter, no comments, just another jogger in the park. The loop took 40 minutes. By the time Chris returned home, endorphins mixed with adrenaline had created a unique high. He showered quickly, packed everything away, and was watching the news when Eleanor returned. "How was your run?" "Refreshing. You were right, I needed it." The pattern established itself. Twice a week, sometimes 3, always when Eleanor had evening plans. Chris mapped different routes, each offering new risks. The office supply store parking lot where teenagers gathered, the trail behind the elementary school where parents walked, the street with the all-night convenience store. Week by week, the persona grew stronger. Chris found himself thinking in her voice during board meetings, imagining how she would handle negotiations differently. He named her Christina, a simple variation that felt like destiny. The clothes evolved too. A purple running jacket for cooler evenings, pink compression sleeves, a black headband to keep the brown ponytail in place. Each addition carefully considered, nothing too dramatic, everything plausibly athletic. 3 months into the routine, the inevitable happened. "Christina, is that you?" The voice froze his blood. Mark from accounting stood outside the convenience store, six-pack in hand, eyes wide with recognition despite the dim lighting. You must be mistaken. No, I'd recognize that jawline anywhere." "Holy shit, Chris." The moment stretched between them like a tightrope. Chris could run, but Mark knew where he worked, knew his life. Instead, Christina straightened her shoulders. "Please, not here." Mark glanced around the empty parking lot. "Your secret's safe. You look..." "Wow, I never would have guessed. What do you want?" "Nothing. Jesus, nothing. This explains why you always seemed so stressed at work." They stood in awkward silence, the convenience store's neon buzzing overhead. "I should go." "Wait." Mark stepped closer. "My sister, she went through something similar. Took her years to find herself. I get it. This isn't... I'm not... Whatever it is or isn't, it's your business. See you Monday, Chris." "Christina, when I'm... like this?" Mark nodded slowly. "See you Monday, Mr. Harrison." The encounter should have ended everything. Chris spent the weekend certain his career was over, his marriage destroyed, but Monday came and went without incident. Mark gave no indication of their meeting, treating Chris with the same professional distance as always. If anything, the close call intensified the need. Christina grew bolder, jogging earlier in the evening when more people were out. She perfected her mannerisms, the way she moved, the subtle differences that made her real. Eleanor noticed changes too. "You seem happier lately, more relaxed." "The exercise helps." "Your hair's getting quite long. Planning to cut it?" "I like it this way." She studied him across the breakfast table, something unreadable in her expression. "It suits you." The boundaries blurred. Chris found himself wearing clear nail polish to board meetings, hidden beneath the conference table. He kept lip gloss in his desk drawer, applying it between appointments. Small acts of rebellion that made Christina feel present even in his corporate cage. 6 months in, the fantasy evolved again. Late at night, while Eleanor slept, Chris would lie awake imagining scenarios. What if someone forced him to dress this way? What if he had no choice? The thought sent shivers through him. The loss of control, the permission to be Christina without bearing responsibility for the choice. He began leaving subtle hints during his runs. A bracelet that might slip into view, perfume light enough to be noticed up close, testing whether anyone would confront him, demand an explanation, force the truth into the open. But suburbia remained politely blind. The home office drawer grew crowded, a blonde wig purchased in a moment of weakness, tried on once and hidden away. He preferred his natural brown hair anyway. Makeup basics for touching up after runs. A small collection of jewelry, running skirts to layer over the tights. Chris discovered online forums, reading stories of others like him. Some had transitioned fully, living as women. Others maintained dual lives indefinitely. The possibilities overwhelmed and thrilled him in equal measure. "I'm worried about you." Eleanor's words cut through his reverie during dinner. She hadn't touched her salmon. "What do you mean?" "You're different, distant. These runs of yours, they're taking over your life. I told you it helps with stress. You run 4 nights a week now. You're losing weight. Your hair..." She gestured vaguely. "Are you having an affair?" The accusation hit like ice water. "No. God, no. I love you." "Then what's happening? Talk to me." Chris stared at his plate, Christina screaming to be acknowledged. But the words wouldn't come. How could he explain the euphoria of transformation? The addiction to risk? The growing certainty that Christina was more real than the suit-wearing executive everyone knew? "I'm trying to figure some things out." "What things?" "About myself, who I am." Eleanor's face cycled through confusion, concern, and something like understanding. "Are you... gay?" "No, it's not about who I'm attracted to." "Then what?" The moment balanced on a knife's edge. One push either way would change everything. But Chris pulled back, retreating into safety. "Just midlife stuff. I'll work through it." She didn't look convinced, but let the subject drop. They finished dinner in silence, the weight of unspoken truths heavy between them. That night, Christina ran with desperate energy. The purple jacket flapped open despite the cool air. The pink sports bra showed clearly through the white tank top he'd added to his ensemble. Let them see, let someone stop him and demand answers. But the suburban streets offered only their usual indifference. Months became a year. The double life developed its own rhythm. Chris the CEO by day, Christina the runner by night. The wardrobe expanded to fill 2 drawers, running tights in black, purple, navy, shorts in every color. Sports bras that actually provided support now that Christina had started subtle hormone supplements ordered online. Nothing dramatic, just enough to soften certain features. The lies to Eleanor multiplied, running club meetings that didn't exist, marathon training that required longer sessions. She stopped asking questions, their marriage settling into polite coexistence. One evening, Christina encountered the couple with the golden retriever again. The same park path, the same knowing look from the woman. "You run here often?" Christina slowed, heart pounding. "Few times a week." "I'm Janet. This is Paul." Christina. The name felt electric on her lips, spoken aloud to strangers who had no idea about Chris Harrison or his corporate empire. "You have great form? Been running long?" "About a year." "Shows. You've really transformed yourself." The word choice seemed deliberate. Christina felt exposed, seen in ways that terrified and thrilled her. "Thanks. We're here most evenings if you ever want running partners." The offer hung between them, loaded with possibility. Christina murmured something non-committal and resumed her pace, but the interaction replayed endlessly. They knew. Somehow they knew, and they didn't care. The fantasy of being forced evolved into elaborate scenarios. Christina imagined Eleanor discovering the drawer, confronting her, insisting she choose, or Mark from accounting using his knowledge as leverage, or Janet and Paul revealing they'd known all along, had been watching, waiting. In these fantasies, Christina never had to make the choice herself. Someone else pushed her over the edge she teetered on daily. But reality offered no such convenient catalysts. Fall arrived with its longer shadows and earlier sunsets. Christina adapted, adding reflective gear to her outfits. The pink sports bra now fit perfectly, the hormone supplements having subtly redistributed things. Her legs had lost their masculine bulk, turning sleek in the running tights. "Your body's really changed." Eleanor's observation came while Chris dressed for work, struggling with buttons that seemed tighter across the chest. "Just the running. Maybe you should see a doctor. Make sure everything's okay." "I feel fine. Better than fine." She watched him with that unreadable expression again. "Your hair's past your shoulders now." "I'll cut it if it bothers you." "No, I didn't say that." The conversation died there, another opportunity passing unexplored. Chris went to work, conducted meetings, signed contracts, all while Christina whispered about the running outfit waiting at home. The bondage element entered gradually. First, just wearing a sports bra a size too small, the compression a constant reminder. Then running tights that required effort to pull on, holding everything tightly in place. Christina discovered athletic tape, wrapping her ankles before runs, the restriction making each step deliberate. One night, she experimented with rope. Nothing extreme, just light knots around her wrists that she could escape if needed. The combination of restraint and public exposure created a high unlike anything before. Christina jogged through the park with her hands loosely bound, hidden under long sleeves, imagining someone had forced her to run this way. "You're playing with fire." Mark's voice nearly gave her a heart attack. He stood by the park entrance, clearly returning from his own workout. "I don't know what you mean." "The rope marks on your wrists are showing." Christina tugged her sleeves down, face burning. "Look, what you do is your business, but be careful. This neighborhood talks." "Have they been talking?" "Some. That couple with the dog mentioned seeing you around. Mrs. Patterson from the HOA asked if I knew who the athletic woman was, who runs past her house." "What did you tell them?" "Nothing. But Christina, you're not as invisible as you think." The use of her chosen name hit hard. Mark saw her, truly saw her, not just Chris in women's clothes. Maybe I don't want to be invisible anymore. Then make a choice. This halfway thing, it's going to eat you alive. He left her standing there, the truth of his words settling like lead. The halfway thing. That's what this was. A life split between two selves, neither fully realized. Christina ran home with new determination. The drawer wouldn't be enough anymore. She needed more space, more freedom, more truth. The fantasies of being forced had been a cop-out, a way to avoid responsibility. No one was going to push her over the edge. She had to jump. But not tonight. Tonight, she would remove the rope, pack away the clothes, and return to being Chris Harrison, CEO and husband. Tomorrow would bring another day of pretense, another evening of possibility. The cycle continued, but something had shifted. Christina grew stronger with each run, more real with each risk taken. The brown ponytail swung with purpose. The pink sports bra felt like armor. The tights and shorts became her uniform of authenticity. 2 years into the journey, the inevitable arrived not as a dramatic confrontation, but as a quiet admission. "I know." Eleanor said it over morning coffee, calm as discussing the weather. "Know what?" "About your running clothes. About Christina." The name on her lips broke something open in Chris. No more pretense, no more lies. "How long?" "Months, maybe longer. You're not as careful as you think." "Why didn't you say anything?" "I kept hoping you would, that you'd trust me enough to share this part of yourself." Tears came then, unexpected and unstoppable. Christina had never cried, always too focused on the thrill to feel the deeper emotions beneath. "I don't know what this means. For us. For me. Neither do I, but we can figure it out together. What if I can't go back? What if Christina is who I really am?" Eleanor reached across the table, taking manicured hands that had grown softer, more delicate. "Then we'll deal with that too." The conversation lasted hours. Truths spilled out like water through a broken dam. The running, the clothes, the hormones, the growing certainty that Christina wasn't just a fantasy, but an identity demanding recognition. Eleanor listened without judgment, asking questions that showed she'd done her own research, drawn her own conclusions. "I've seen you become happier these past 2 years, more alive, even if I didn't understand why. I might lose everything. The company won't accept a trans CEO. You don't know that. This is Texas. Conservative clients, traditional board members. Times are changing. Besides, is keeping Chris worth losing Christina?" The question hung between them, fundamental and unanswerable in the moment. But for the first time, Christina felt the possibility of integration, of becoming whole rather than split. That evening, she ran with Eleanor's knowledge and something like blessing. The purple jacket felt lighter. The pink sports bra seemed to fit better. Each step carried her not away from her life, but toward a future where Christina and Chris might somehow merge. Janet and Paul waved from their usual spot. "Looking good, Christina. Love the confidence tonight." She waved back, no longer caring what they knew or guessed. Mark's words echoed. Make a choice. The halfway thing would eat her alive. But tonight wasn't about choosing. Tonight was about running free, brown ponytail streaming, athletic wear proclaiming an identity still forming. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, difficult conversations, decisions about hormones and transition, and the million complexities of authentic living. For now, Christina ran through suburban streets that no longer seemed indifferent, but almost welcoming. Each neighbor's glance felt less like judgment and more like recognition. She'd spent 2 years fearing discovery, crafting elaborate fantasies of forced revelation. The truth proved simpler and more complex. No one would force her to be Christina. She had to choose it herself, one run at a time, one conversation at a time, one authentic moment building on another. The park circuit complete, she headed home where Eleanor waited. They had more to discuss, plans to make, a future to navigate. The company might accept or reject her. Their marriage might evolve or end. Everything hung in balance. But Christina felt no urge to hide anymore. The locked drawer could stay open. The running clothes could hang in the main closet. The brown hair could grow longer still, styled however felt right. She'd spent years running from herself, disguised as running for fitness. Now, finally, she ran towards something real. The possibility of wholeness, of integration, of living as one person instead of two. The porch light glowed warm in the distance. Home, where Eleanor waited with tea and patience and the terrifying gift of acceptance. Where Chris Harrison, CEO, might finally meet Christina the runner and discover they were the same person all along. Her pace quickened, not from fear of discovery, but from eagerness to begin. The real journey started now, with all its uncertainties and promises. No more fantasies of force, no more elaborate scenarios of helplessness. Just the simple, difficult truth of choosing to be herself. Christina bounded up the porch steps, brown ponytail swinging, pink sports bra visible through the white tank top, purple jacket unzipped despite the evening chill. Ready or not, she was coming home. The door opened before she could reach for it. Eleanor stood there, holding out a towel and a gentle smile. "Welcome back, both of you." And for the first time in 2 years, Christina walked through her own front door without changing back into Chris first. The journey toward integration had begun. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.